Golf GTI is perhaps the most revered model in the entire Volkswagen range. It is a darling in the segment and amongst critics and enthusiasts. So you'd think that the Jetta GLI has an immediate advantage. It's based on the same platform, has the same engine, has the same choices of a manual 6-speed transmission or a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic. But not quite. There's a few things about this GLI that I think really need to be discussed. So in this video today, I'm going to break down everything that I think you need to know about this GLI, and then at the end of this video, I'll place it in my ranking system to see where it compares against other hot hatchbacks and other hot sedans. And this video wouldn't have been possible without the help of Country Hills VW and the Dilawri group of car dealerships across Canada. All of their information is linked down below. So yes, the Jetta is based on the MQB platform, the same thing that underpins pretty much everything in the Volkswagen range these days. It has a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that produces 228 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque with, again, the choice of a manual or automatic transmission. All the power goes straight to the front wheels, and the power that this thing produces and the noises that this engine makes are starkly different to the basic Jetta, of which I've been able to try out in the XL line trim, and I thought it was an utterly brilliant economy car. Did everything incredibly well. It was quiet, it was comfortable. If you really needed a car to just get from A to B and do close to nothing else, the Jetta would be one of the best choices out there, I think. But this turbocharged motor has quite a bit of character to it. There's a lot of turbo whooshing noises every time you lift off the throttle, every time that you do a quick little downshift. You've got all of the joys and the benefits of a small displacement engine with a high boost pressure. But during my time driving this thing, I've had a really hard time exercising this engine. The power constantly seems to be robbed from the traction control lights and a lot of squealing from the tires. The GLI gets a lower suspension system, dynamic shocks, and critically a mechanically limited slip differential, which is meant to limit wheel slip, trying to make cornering in this thing a lot more aggressive so you can take corners faster. In a lot of my time with this thing, it's really suffering from a lot of wheel spin, and I don't know if it's because it's a brand new car, maybe the tires are still greasy in some capacity, but it certainly has been suffering in that aspect. So that's one fault I have towards the powertrain. The other thing is this manual transmission. It's based on an economy car, so they're bringing the clutch and the transmission over from a vehicle that is meant to be very easy to drive. The Jetta would be good at that, but not necessarily the GLI. I find that this stick shift is quite rubbery, and the length of this knob itself is quite tall with long throws, so whenever I'm shifting gear, I feel like I really have to take a significant motion with my hand to go from gear to gear. And personally, I think each of these gears is geared too tall. This manual transmission also features the hill start assist system that we're seeing in a lot of manual cars these days. After just testing out that Veloster N, which had, I think, a totally seamless transmission where you didn't need any throttle input to get off the line, this Jetta you definitely do. The bite point is easily detectable, but after just getting out of something like that Veloster N and just having such a wildly good time, I find myself being just a little let down by the GLI's performance. The GLI has 5 different driving modes: Eco, Comfort, Normal, Sport, and then Custom, where you can change all of the different factors around to exactly what you want. The Sport mode definitely increases the volume of this engine. Maybe a little more responsive as well, but I think the sound of what you'll notice just crawling along and then slamming your foot into the throttle is what you'll notice. Highway driving, I'd say it's just a smidge louder than the GLI. The wider tires, I imagine, contributes to a little more road noise. But if we forget the aspects of the GLI, What else is in this package? Well, it's still based on the Jetta, which has a lot of space up front and enough in the rear so that tall people such as myself wouldn't feel uncomfortable back there. Definitely only 2 seating back there though, as you have this hump in the center, not a transmission tunnel obviously, as this car is only front wheel drive, but enough to get by with an absolutely ginormous trunk. But just look out for those exposed hinge arms. That could make life a little bit challenging if you're loading bigger things into the car. And the GLI has all of the standard tech that you'll get in the top trim XL line. So the digital instrument cluster, the touch screen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, the heated and ventilated front seats, the heated rear seats, the wireless phone charger, the Beats audio system, the rail-to-rail sunroof, and the dual-zone climate control. The visual upgrades over the GLI for the traditional Jetta are noticeable. That larger black grille with the red stripe going along. It doesn't interject into the headlights like the GTI does, but with those dual exhausts, the faux diffuser, I think this GLI looks really sharp. It has a flat bottom steering wheel, but as I remember in the Jetta I tested out, it also had a flat bottom, but with the unique badging here and this extra stitching all the way around, it looks good, it feels great in the hands. Volkswagen is building cars and interfaces that are incredibly easy to use and they feel great, and every aspect of this car feels like it's really well put together. The switch gear is great, this 10-inch touchscreen that you'll get in the higher trim levels is ultra responsive, and you have the touch sensitive portions here on the side of the screen. The volume knob will probably drive some people mad though. This GLI I'm in is the GLI 35 edition. What that is celebrating the 35th anniversary, so you'll get some superficial upgrades here and there. The most noticeable one are these black 18-inch wheels with this red pinstriping all the way around. On the outside as well, you'll get the black roof, the black mirror caps, and that little add-on spoiler. Inside, along the door seals, you'll see GLI 35 and then little tags that are stitched into the seats. We also have the one and only additional upgrade package in this GLI, which is the driver assistance pack. That adds the blind spot monitoring, the adaptive cruise control, the automatic headlights, and the autonomous braking system. Issues I take with the interior, like the Jetta, there aren't a lot of soft plastics. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say there isn't a lot, but you have a pretty much 50-50 mix between soft and hard. So the top of the dashboard here, all soft, up along the windowsill, on the door cards, on the armrest, it's all very squidgy and nice, but there's plenty of spaces throughout that are hard plastic as well. I'm sure it's durable and it's long lasting, but I would like to have some soft plastics up along here where I rest my legs against the center tunnel. A little bit of piano black plastic, not too much that I'll find it offensive, but what I do find offensive is this is the top trim GLI. It has everything, and look at how many blank buttons spaces there are. That always bothers me. Seats are very good for someone my height. There's a little bit of thigh bolstering, so I kind of keep my knees closer to the steering column. Maybe I would need to be a little bit wider to appreciate the side bolstering here along my ribs. So to recommend this car, I think if you're looking for a Jetta that has a little more poke, you'll get that. That 228 horsepower does offer a fair amount of fun. But for a totally involving and exciting driving experience, I still think finding yourself in a GTI is a better bet. So after spending a couple days with this Jetta, the performance upgrade, specifically talking about the engine, is perhaps the most substantial difference between the regular car and this one. But it just doesn't deliver as much performance merit as I was hoping. It's not the GTI of the compact sedans. It might look brilliant and have those performance upgrades, but for me, it needs to have a more wholesome experience. If you translate the power of the engine into something that feels perhaps a little more engaging behind the wheel, then I think we're looking at a much more successful vehicle. But for the time being, I think that you should test drive this GLI. If you're looking for a car with a little more poke than the regular Jetta, this is the car for you. But if you're looking for a full-bore performance vehicle, I think the GTI is still the vehicle that you should consider over this. So that's been everything from me. Thank you so much for taking the time to watching this video, and many thanks again have to go off to Country Hills VW that lent this model out to me for a weekend so I could play around with it. All of their contact information is linked down below alongside the Dilawri group of car dealerships across Canada. Thanks again for watching. Please like the video if you liked it and share it if you think other people will like it too. And if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that does the world for me. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon.